sharp on Train lately, so I'm just really surprised they found themselves here in the veto.
It's time for map 2 to commence. FaZe and VP. VP starting over on the CT side, FaZe on the T. And the two teams will be coming out against one another. But if utility over on the T side, they got themselves a molly, a smoke, and a flashbang. And Dust, you might actually get your dream scenario.
Please.
And in the pistol as well, James.
Please.
Seriously?
Please. I can't. I need it. No! No! Man, what? That's so anticlimactic.
Actually really smart to jump over there as well in case there was a player up close just as that. But Yikinda will be nulling and suppressing down Brocky. In the meanwhile, though, Sanji, though, has also gone down to the hands of Rain, and Yikinda, who was posted up, is doing significant damage. 2v3 in favor of VP. And the 3 remaining CTs are all the wrong side of the site as far as FaZe are concerned. P250 tries to claim some heads. Coldzera tries to line them up with the Glock and knock them back down again. But the bomb is in such a tentative, tenuous position. It's not looking good for the Brazilian. He still has time on his side for the time being, but he's hoping that one of these CTs overextends. I don't even think Kiko was overextending. He was just watching the angle, instantly got his head perforated. And now Coldzera does have a brief window to get back into this round with. A 3K for Yikinda as he tries to pick up a 4th all the way from Pop Dog, but now Coldzera closes the noose onto Buster, and at this kind of range, he may even clutch. He's got the HP advantage. Time is still running away from the Brazilian, but the audacity to clutch that round from Coldzera, I don't have a clue how he's managed to pull that off.
You know, some clutches, Vince, when you watch them, they're more of one side making a mistake and the other side taking advantage of it. In that situation, like you said, I don't think VP really screwed up. I feel like that was just a chef's kiss of an attempt from Cold, and he converts on it. He just did so well. He was always making sure that someone wasn't going to swing on him when he was taking shots the other direction. He was just pivoting so perfectly. That is just like classic Coldzera, man.
A play that really you feel should never have been. I'm still in awe of the fact he actually pulled that off. That actually completely shocked me watching it.
I mean, he
especially
made every
the first. I think right, it's over now. Surely, nope.
He just made a perfect decision at every moment. Like right. That is literally just a masterclass clutching clinic there from Coldzera. Now they will try to use it as a springboard to get an advantage early in this half, as they've bought up rifles on everyone except for Brokey and Kerrigan, who will take the SMGs. Looking for that heavy triple opener at Ivy. Bomb still tucked into T-Con side, looking to split this outer sight, smoking off the back halls. Mollying up close to ensure that they have easy access to this right-hand side. Buster trying to play spoiler in the smoke.
You can also hear all those grenades being tossed out, so that's information that's been gathered. They do take a shot from the scalp, that's Brokey, but it just glances his arm. So he's tagged down to 44. Buster now getting up close. The smoke is clear to Coldzera. Will be checking his angles. And he's not slowing down the pace from the pistol round. He's picking up the slack. Kerrigan sees the shadow, but it betrays him. Buster springs in for 2. And Sanji with the white swing for Mass picks up 2 of his own. It's down to Coldzera for another clutch, but even by his immortal hands, that is a bridge too far. And VP instantly bounced back in.
What? I'm so confused. It looked like FaZe had that perfect. Like they used the smokes great to get that spaced out Ivy and start getting into that hell position and start spreading out the outer yard, and then somehow, some way, VP just kick it right back. And now FaZe are on the deco. It's this scrappy affair to kick things off. The economic game of chicken. Who will yield first? It's going to take 2 rounds in a row to put a halt to this shenanigan that we are in the midst of. So you are going to see VP getting up close and personal on these choke points in the outer yard.
Yikinda, James, and Sanji all open their accounts onto a forced up FaZe. Now, the only thing being forced is VP into a second round. Yikinda, bit of money in the bank from his SMG as he doubles up and twists. Well, he tries to hold on with the deagle.
This webcam angle is fantastic, isn't it? Like, I'm really getting to explore Twist Forehead. That depth side never would have anticipated. I'm seeing every pore.
So so dialed in.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, Akindar, well, he's going to get a third, and that's a lot of money he just accrued in the process.
It is wild to see a North American player on, like, international team. It's so rare. Like, the only other times that's really happened is, like, when Terracins 2, he went to a Brazilian team, it made in Brazil, and I guess you could say, like, rush on complexity, but it didn't start out that way, right? It kind of evolved into that when he was already on board. So it's definitely kind of a different take for Counter-Strike to see Twist on a, you know, European team being the only North American. Glock safe here from FaZe, so not a whole lot that's going to happen here, you'd imagine.
Used as target practice, perhaps. A VP.
Another solid webcam angle.
Yep.
Can
see all the chair.
Can't be asked. Yeah.
I understand that FaZe probably using this as a bit of a mini timeout.
Sure.
Try and see if they can whittle away some of these grenades, and maybe if VP overextend with one of their SMGs, they can take down a kill. But yeah, as you said, I mean, this round, they kind of just came into it knowing it was a loss.
Oh, yeah. Like you said, just kind of use it to cool your jets, prepare for the important round coming up next to try to immediately contend with VP. You can dart this angle here, spots them spilling out. They actually kind of overwhelm him with the Glocks. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. They get a couple of kills. They get into a 3 versus 3, almost teasing that they could get the space to get a bomb plant, but now Buster is doing his job to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, this is where things just fall into place. But the fact they even got 2 kills is way more than I really expected. That is going to be guaranteed replenished purchases of Kevlar and grenades. Now, sure, they've got SMGs, they've got a scout, so they can definitely make sure they take as much value out of this round as possible. Brokey's now just try and force his will onto the site. Doesn't really matter that James landed the scout, because Kicker was right behind him anyway. But the bonus has came and gone, and FaZe had a bit of success.
Indeed, they will be able to get the full buy this round. Kind of curious what kind of game plan they're going to come out with. Again, we have not seen them play a whole lot with this lineup, and we definitely haven't seen very many games on Trey, and certainly not successful ones, right, coming in with the 1-2 record. So not sure what Kerrigan has had cooked up. Again, a guy that usually likes to play a more explosive play style of Counter-Strike. The problem is it's going to be hard to do when the CT economy is this high. They have so much utility to kind of block you going for early peeks out towards Olaf or in the outer yard in general. You're going to have to extinguish or wait things out, as we see VP is indeed doing exactly what I'm talking about. They're using their utility to choke FaZe, but they're trying to explode through anyway.
Yeah, try and just plunder through the smokes, the flashes, the mollies. You can hear as Flash burns and singes away from main, but coldzera still able to put his body with the AK to use. Still alive. 3 players left, but 2 of them below 20 HP. And he's been in the thick of all of the action. Through the trials and tribulations, the ups and the downs. There's a minute 10 left, but he may just about to get flanked from Buster, who will get the shot down. There was aggression from FaZe, which I like to see, but VP just seemed dialed in right now, Dust.
Again, it's really hard to make that kind of tactic work when you're up against a CT team that has that much money to spend on utility. It's so hard to get past those nade stacks and those incendiaries on that T connector and on that ladder room. You basically have to hope you catch a good timing with your spawn, or that you can somehow just force through with extinguishing using a smoke. Unfortunately for them, it did not pan out that time. VP had that on lock, and now it's another save from FaZe. Eco, other than Kerrigan, who gets a little bit of utility in the P250. Some flashes, 1 smoke, perhaps just looking to try to get that inner bomb plant. Kicker throw playing up close. Spots maybe a player on the edge of that smoke. Not sure if you would have saw Rain there or not. Does back off, though, smartly, not wanting to get overwhelmed, and has that incendiary ready to go. And there's nothing that can extinguish it when the smoke comes into sight.
Oh, it's going to be so much damage they put through that Molotov, but actually, 2 of them bypass it for the most part, only taking 1 tick as opposed to more. It does keep Kerrigan, though, away from the rest of the team. The bomb's been spilled out, and they just get skewered. Skewered by M4s, skewered by AWPs. It's a full house of frags with Kickert on 3 and Jane with 2.
VP building up a big lead here on the CT side, but FaZe finally back to a full buy, and now Brokey is going to have that AWP. He has yet to find a kill in this game. He's not alone in that regard either. Here's winding back of the clock. I don't know what to do with that one. I'll just let it go. I tried, Vince. I really did. Just find a way to. When production throws a curveball at you, you know, you gotta be on your toes. I tried. I really did.
Listen, they were just trying to inspire Brokey with the AWP. He's 0, 1, and 6. He's like, this is how you AWP, all right?
There you go.
Take a leaf out of Dexter's book.
You figured it out.
Good guys production. They're on point.
Yeah. You found a way. As it is 0 kills for Kerrigan and Brokey so far. They need to get going here and now. Full utility, op and play. Again, hard to roll out a faster play with VP's utility being this high, and they had so much money stored up for later. And so, let's see how FaZe want to approach this. Maybe just try to get Brokey some time to work out a pick with that op.
Yeah, a lot of these rounds have just been really aggressive. It's been fun to watch, but not too much success from FaZe. So look at this from Brokey. He's already down in Pop Dog, but Jane has the angle covered.
Yeah, I feel like they realized that they conceded this, and so they are making sure that it's covered, and that's you know, good on them. And now they've actually forced Brokey out with that later incendiary. So Brokey almost had a sick timing. I've never seen an op get down ladder that fast on a full gun round on train. So gave himself a chance, but eventually flushed out. And now they will have to do a bit of a reset here. They will just leave coldzera lurking towards Ivy. The rest looking to take control of box salts and maybe even try to recapture some ladder control. Jane, though, posted up watching Cloud. Sanji also has ladder room covered. So FaZe is going to have to kind of brute force their way through, Vince.
Yeah, they do need someone to really step up to that mantle. Like, coldzera's got a lot of frags right now, but it's been from clutch situations. They've never really led the rounds very well.
Yes.
And that's been the main issue for me. They need someone to take on that entry role and just have a lot of success while doing it. Molly's been put down. Twist decides he's the man to push out first to take point, and it will be a post plant. Jane gets flashed. That may survive from Rain's perspective, just a few more moments, but the smoke is starting to fade. It's starting to dissipate. Sanji's now coming in with the M4, but Kerrigan stands his ground and lays waste to it. Yukinda picks up the slack, gets the headshot onto Rain, but it's the M4 as opposed to the AK, so he comes out worse for wear. And James decides he needs to piece out of there. A 1v4, understandably, but I don't think he's allowed the opportunity to save because coldzera was in perfect position.
Yeah, you know, you could see what he was trying to do, but coldzera definitely had him cut off there. Really well done in here. It was Twist kicking things off. And here's the thing about Twist, Vince, is while he was on Liquid, because they had so many star players on the team and so many guys who were really good at being aggressive, like a Stewie, you know, in particular, like an Elige, it's like Twist kind of got stuck playing like more solo roles, just kind of on the edges of the map and not really being a part of the main map control group, not being the tip of the spear of attacks. On this team, I feel like Kerrigan is looking to make him that player, and that was a big entry from him on enter that round.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to look out for more of that in the future rounds, because it's going to be aggression again. This time it's the full 5-man roster, though, that is just charging towards VP. Can't quite catch them yet as the smokes are still in place. Faking the bomb, trying to draw the CTs out into the open. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. More HP has been lost, though, on the FaZe side of things, with Kerrigan down to 39. Still yet to get the plant down. Still being careful and treading lightly on the site. coldzera fakes it again, anticipating that maybe Pop Dog will get pushed into. There's actually a long flank from Kickherd, who's going all the way around back towards main side. They've lost another player, but it will be a post plant as Buster comes in with the AWP, shutting down Kerrigan in the process. coldzera in yet another clutch situation alongside the youngster of Brokey. He has his eyes set towards Ivy. If Buster peeks out again, could have him shut down. But all the emphasis now is spun around on the CTs, but in the blink of an eye, the round comes crashing down, and FaZe have conceded again.
That was just good patience and discipline from VP through that round. Yeah, Twist got the initial entry, but VP able to trade it back pretty quickly, and then they just kind of settle into the round. They kind of let FaZe have control of site, you know, concede the bomb plant if need be. That's fine. They didn't fall for any of those baited plants, and they just worked the retake together so efficiently. They just look potent. And again, no shocker, VP have been on an absolute tear as a top 5 team in the world throughout the course of the last 6 months, winning a couple of titles, actually 3 titles in a row between Flashpoint 2, DreamHack Open, and CS Summit 7 in 2020, and already had a final appearance with Katowice earlier this year. They have been so on fire.
Jame with the time peeking. coldzera is not going to be happy about that one, but at least Jame has been laid down from Rain. Gets the avenging frag for the Brazilian. And now they look to pivot in towards the site. Kicker gets the molly down. Lots of damage. Smoke goes in and extinguishes the molly. But more importantly for FaZe, they've actually got Kicker dead to rights. Sanji with a fast flank round the back, but he's already done this earlier. He had no success last time with the M4, so they know this is a distinct possibility. And you better believe that FaZe will have a good idea as to this coming in, but they may not anticipate the double crunch from Catwalk. Sanji now shows his hand at the same time as Yakinda. And FaZe are being executed where they stand. Twist shut down in the back from Buster, and another successful retake for VP.
Yeah, their retakes have been so on point, and it just comes down to them kind of just doing these unorthodox things and taking advantage of timings of flanks. Again, they've been patient when they needed to be. They've been explosive when it's been required. They are just such a well-rounded team. You know, you have guys who are willing to sit back and play support positions like a Sanji or like a Buster at times, but then you have someone like a Kindar who is absolutely wild and just can get in your face. And look at this frag distribution, man. A 3-kill spread from top to bottom on VP. Meanwhile, Brokey has still yet to find a kill, and I hate to single him out, but on a map like this, where opping is so pivotal, he needs to find something.
Yeah, precisely. All FaZe have got to try and pull some different strings. This is where you're looking at Karrigan alongside to try and unlock the player. And speaking of AWPers and having a bit of success, there we go. He's got it. Brokey does get off the mark. It's at the cost of Buster's life, who took one down just beforehand over on Ivy.
Yeah, just there's no utility for FaZe, man. And look, they have 2 smokes, a flash, and a Molotov. That's it. They can't really run anything too complex. They have to just go for kind of the one push. Now, they are already creeping out top side of inner. They actually have gotten into sight, and now they know it's clear. They can molly all Z connector. That's going to put James Opp out of the equation for now. Bomb should make its way in. Kicker getting up to Cloud. But I like how FaZe are pushing deep into the yard vents. They're not just going to give up points, but now that flank is going to disrupt everything. Now they can't really hold these 4 positions as comfortably.
They have lost so many post plants so far, FaZe. 3 or 4 at least off the top of my head, and most of them have been winnable situations. Is this going to be yet another one? Damage distributed between the 2 teams. Twist and Brokey taking a lot, but so is Yakinda. Twist now holds his ground onto Sanji. James peeks round, gets the success onto Twists, nullifies that threat, but the time is so very low. This bomb is just mere moments away from detonation, and the CTs need to get on top of it. James is just out in the open. They try and bait him out with the smoke on the Molotov. But Rain will not miss. FaZe take the round, but it's a great cost to their players. Everybody barring Rain dropping down.
Man, such a crazy round. And I mean, VP are still in so much control, though I will say their money has dwindled because they've gone for double op here, Kicker on the FAMAS, and so they are kind of at that breaking point where if FaZe can fit this one through, they could actually start gaining some traction, start closing the gap on the scoreboard, and start making this half a close contest despite the cold start. So you are going to see them try to pick up the pace here towards inner side. Utility trying to stuff them, Twist trying to force his way through, but he's been absolutely busted by Kicker. Almost bullet between the eyes. Not the early start FaZe we're hoping for in this round, Vince.
Yeah, real venom behind those FAMAS shots. You can see that FaZe don't have the antidote. They just pull the plug. They get out of there. Brokey down to 54. Has come alive in this last round. But will it be too little too late? Because FaZe are already hemorrhaging so many round stuffs. And just watching this, it doesn't really fill me with confidence about the rest of their T rounds.
No, here's the big problem with FaZe I don't think people realize. They have only had Karrigan for 2 months, and they've never really had a lull in activity to really focus on practice and boot camping, I feel like. So I feel like they just haven't had the time to really fine-tune how they handle some of these approaches. Well, they need to make something work now. They're trying to hop out and weave around the op bullets, but James is not missing the mark. As I say that, of course.
He switched too early. The classic. Just goes to show even the top-level players do it now and again. 3v3. And with that mistake, there's now an opportunity, and FaZe are making the most of it. They're knocking down the door, and it's coldzera with the sledgehammer in hand as he rattles the skulls with the Galil. Yakinda down to 5, and he has to save. That moment from James actually gave FaZe an opportunity, and they took it with both hands.
You've never seen a bigger Caster's Curse moment in your life, man. He looked like he was ready to tee off. He already had the first shot. He was well prepared for the next player, I thought. And then, of course, not. FaZe somehow make this scrappy all over the place by pan out. They will get the 4th round. And again, look at the reward. VP's money absolutely in tatters. They will say this M4 on Yakindar, but that's going to be about it. And so FaZe have a very good chance at a 5th round here.
Yeah, they've crept their way back into this. Make no mistake, they're just a couple of rounds away now from securing it as being a pretty solid T-half, all things considered. Dust. Like, you look at the economy, it's pretty grim. There's a definite path back in here for FaZe.
Oh, yeah. Especially now that the CT utility is going to be lower for probably the rest of the half, because even when they can buy again, their money is not out of control. So that opens up the door for FaZe to get some of those faster outer explosion plays, which they want to pick up that pace. That's the type of style that Kerrigan likes to play, the decisive in-your-face style. Oh, James, that Zeus not able to get into position, flushed out by the Molotov, but he still got it. Still a chance for later, perhaps.
Wasn't that the exact same position on Pop Dog Ladder that you tried in the pistol as well?
Right.
So at first you don't succeed, try again.
I mean, to be fair, that's probably one of the best spots you could position the Zeus to have a chance. Now he positions here on the other Pop Dog, the inner side.
And it is a position where FaZe have pushed down a lot of times as well, through mollies, through smoke. So understandable that he'd be taking these positions.
Now he's on the other ladder. He is trying every trick in the book to get this Zeus into a good position. Unfortunately for him, FaZe seem to just keep avoiding it, as now they're setting up for what looks to be an outer split. Cold rearing up Ivy. Rest lining up out by T-Con. Rain able to play from above the ladder room.
That flashbang actually does more harm than good to the teammate, but he runs out of ammunition, fully blinded, and that's them for the Trade's hands to add to the other arsenal of weaponry they had. He killed up with his downrange. It's 2 kills before Brokey gets the flick shot. 2v2, a round that VP should never be close in. And they couldn't even win from this position. Brokey tries to flick into the frag, but misses it down onto Ivy before Kerrigan picks up the slack and puts this round to bed. Says, that's how it's done, boys.
Yeah, that got a little bit dicey there for a second, but FaZe able to reel it back in, no problem. We are going to be able to see the buyback now, though, from VP. They have been fairly on point in gun rounds, but again, look at how much more limited their utility is. And again, that's going to give Kerrigan the option to run some of these faster outer plays if he so chooses. It gives them more flexibility on what kind of game plan that they can roll out. As we do see the smokes are coming out quick and outer, and look at how fast coldzera has found Olaf position.
Oh, Yakindar never had a chance. coldzera so quick. A player, remember, at one point was the best on the planet. And he still has that potential. He still has those maps where he will just come out all guns blazing. And we may have been very fortunate enough to experience one right here, right now. Rain, though.
Oh, wow. He must have hit a long-range rifle shot against James Opp that was perched on Cloud waiting for that angle. That was an insane shot from Rain. Meanwhile, FaZe just closing in on the outer yard. They got this one. Bomb, though, being planted at inner in the midst of it all. And now it looks like VP have to just save. Rain must have hit a crazy shot. I know we didn't see it, but just based on what I saw on the mini-map, that must have been wild.
So a save for VP. They have to back away. One of the two players, though, in a really awkward position. Buster out in no man's land. The bomb planted on B. Of course, Kicker now wrapping around the back, and that's a big kill. That allows them the safety to save the AWP. And although Buster's died to the molly of Brokey, if Kicker can hold on to the AWP, that'll be a decent takeout. Now, he may not be afforded that luxury. He's got Kerrigan coming in from one side and Twist from the other. Will he survive? It's going to be so close. It's the burst block to add insult to injury. Twist removes his head.
Of all the ways to not be able to save the op, that's the one. The burst block to the dome. You hate to see it. So here we go. FaZe gifted another somewhat freebie, considering that VP have not quite too much of an arsenal. Let's just be honest about it. Scout, though, and James could maybe cause a bit of a ruckus. Same with a couple of Eagles out there in play. And speaking of which,
softening up targets coldzera finishes off Sanji. We are into another position, though, where FaZe should have run away with this round, and yet they have to be very careful. Yes, they still have I'd say an advantageous position. Sure, they're a player behind, but they were able to juggle away one of those rifles. 2 players without Kevlars, Buster and James. And walking in, Yakinda gets the drop on terrain. That's another weapon that could trade hands. And suddenly, this round is starting to look very grim indeed for FaZe. They need a kill. Yakinda gets his 4th. He's on for the ace. Picking up the AK, using it against the oncoming T's. And Twist is going to try and take that accolade away from him. Up close, Yakinda takes the head off. What a time to bring out an ace.
Brilliant play there from Yakindar, one of the newer players to the team, though he's been there for quite some time now, and he's been an absolute revelation to the team. Just being able to assert dominance, to be fearless, to be that tip of the spear when they need him most. And he comes up huge in a round that his team had no business winning, and that is a tough pill to swallow if you're FaZe. You are finally closing the gap on the scoreboard. You were finally on the heels of your opponent after a cold start. They were, again, down at one point, I believe 5-1. And to climb your way back and then lose a round like that, which puts you in this position for the final round of the half, that is grueling. What a play from Yakindar.
You are spot on. It was 5-1 Dust. So
every now and then I make it work with numbers. Always a dangerous game.
Now the numbers will be dangerous for VP. Should FaZe bring it back to a 1-round deficit to go through on the CT side? And now UMP, couple of AK-47s. It's a real bargain bucket buy-up, but Yakindar, of course, with the aggression, feeling the confidence after that ace in the previous round, is 1 shy of his 20. And we're not even into the second half just yet. Buster dancing with Carrigan. A dance to the death it ends up being, and it's Carrigan on the receiving end as the Dane now has to sit and watch the rest of his teammates try and clutch this one out. Yakindar shuffles coldzera off his mortal coil, and it's looking like we will have the 9-6 scoreline, barring a miraculous clutch from Brokey or Rain.
Doesn't seem too likely, Vince. Seems well out of reach. They have no utility. They have no real intel. They have no map control. All they've got is 2 AKs and a dream.
Well, sometimes dreams come true. Is this going to be one of those moments they haven't checked down on the spools? That probably will be the beginning of the end. Brokey spins around and gets 2 kills with the AK. Not anticipating the fast flank, and Yakindar just takes off his head. That'll be it for the first half. We're going to cut to a break. When we rejoin us, we'll be live to see if VP can convert. All right, ladies and gents, welcome back to our live coverage of the DreamHack Masters Spring 2021. If you missed the first half, it was actually a bit of a roller coaster, Dust. It looked as though FaZe were really going to put the hurt onto VP, and they bounced back in with nowhere, with Yekindar picking up an ace and 21 kills to round out the first half. An unbelievable performance from him, and now they lead 9-6 going through to the T side.
A wild ride indeed, almost like the train has come off the rails. That's what that deserved, to be honest.
See, the players were so disappointed by that. Yeah, someone just left their PC. They literally just said, screw it. They threw.
Haven't left us with much to talk about.
So, second half will be coming up with VP 9 rounds to 6. At one point, it was 5-1 to VP, and it was looking as though they were going to just completely take over the first half. FaZe, to be fair to them, did come back. Brokey had a bit of a slow start, but he definitely picked it up towards the end. And now VP behind Yekindar, maybe looking for some entry work. We'll have a molly, and they have a couple of smokes and a couple of flashes.
Indeed. This is a big round for FaZe to try to claw back on the scoreboard, get themselves a nice, really hot start. They're trying to fight it out in the box halls, but VP are coming out on top. Quick flank, though, up the ladder from Rain and company, making this one dangerous, as now it's a 2-on-2. Bomb down in a precarious position.
James down alongside with it. Yekindar, though, last man standing. The man that completely put the hurt on FaZe in that first half. We had a crazy clutch from coldzera in the first pistol, a 1v3. And maybe Yekindar can get another one here. Bomb in his hands. Understands that Spools very likely has a player behind it. Is the weakened Rain on 5 HP. Still tons of time at his disposal. Flicks into action, and Rain had some opportunities. But because of his low HP, maybe he just snatched at that one. And now it comes down to timing. VP, in the form of Yekindar, has to guess where Karrigan is coming from. Tries to plant the bomb safely. Gets it done. Backs away into Karrigan's embracing arms, and Karrigan will not miss, will not give him a second chance.
It's actually unreal that Yekindar did the one thing he couldn't do in that clutch. Obviously, he didn't know, but it's just so unlucky that he just chose the one wrong spot. You feel for him a little bit because he was certainly putting forward a fantastic effort throughout the bulk of that round to try to make something happen. But then Karrigan, as you said, gives him the hug of death.
For the post plant, VP had opportunities to go in for a full force if they so chose. They decide against that option. Kicker down to only 400, dropping the bulk of these pistols, I would have to assume. And coldzera already with the smoke down. Knows to be pressured in from multiple players, gets one alongside Brokey, who then doubles up. Should be another post plant, considering it wasn't a full investment. This may be good enough for VP. Any kills at this stage is a nice bonus on top, and they get it from James. This is where Kickert's lonely Glock, unlikely to really add too much into this round. He's not even interested in trying to fend off the retake. He's out of that.
The goal was to get the bomb down, and that happened for him. So that'll give them plenty of economy coming to this next round, except for Kickert, who, you know, gonna have only the 3600. Everyone else is just spacing to overwhelm Cold a bit to get that bomb down. That was just enough. Now we will see the AWP coming into play for James. Rifles aplenty for everyone else. Of course, we do see the full buyout from FaZe, including an AUG for Karrigan. Definitely one of the maps where you can make that weapon work. Scout only, though, for Brokey coming into this. No AWP on their side.
Kicker, slow peek up on towards the box halls. Bomb drop back on T-step side. And now taking that slow and steady approach, not needing to snatch at anything. They know they have a really solid purchase in. Molly tossed in towards the pop dog area. That Molly won't fully extend to Rain, so he can actually just hold in position. So a decent trade for him.
Yeah, puts the smoke down as well to deter any further progression from VP down that ladder. Karrigan, in the meantime, taking a good angle with the AUG here towards T-Con, knowing that Rain has his ladder room covered. He also knows that Twist will be covering that Ivy position just fine. The scope of Brokey will be in the inner yard with coldzera. So we are going to see FaZe putting heavy emphasis with this outer yard defense, while VP looking to charge at Ivy, so Twist will be tested. So will Rain, it looks like. Kicker trying to mess with him here in that ladder room. Twist now feeling the heat, quite literally, of the pressure here coming at Ivy. Will make those calls, and here comes the push.
Gap at this local forward side, a chance to push in, but be careful you wish for. Twist with a double headshot, forcing away the tees. And they needed every little slither of success they could get, because the bomb is so very tentatively placed with 20 seconds to go. Buster's still alive. Kicker gets 2 of his own with the Galil. And now Brokey with the scout up on the side needs to start landing some shots. He's missed the first, and that may be too far gone into the round now. Finishes off the weakened Kicker and still has an opportunity to maybe clutch this one out, even though he lands the no-scope. Jame down to 8, and with 6 seconds to spare, they clutch it out.
So FaZe begin the climb back, but VP hold them off at the pass. A big round to keep themselves out in front, and look at the repercussions. FaZe did not have that much reserve cash built up yet, so they're in a bind here. We did see that Brokey is going to have the AUG into this round. Scout passed over to someone who likely had a better spawn to maybe try to take some type of aggressive peek. As a timeout has been called to further discuss how they want to approach this round. Again, it's very important considering how fragile their economy is and how limited their resources are to work with in this round. They need to try to come up with a really good plan here.
Players deep in thoughts. It's only the first day of the DreamHack Masters Spring. You better believe that they want to put themselves in as good a position as possible to go the distance. VP already with a 2-round lead. Doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel with these rounds, especially you know that FaZe are really hanging by a thread in terms of a potential purchase. Just feel them out, probe where the weaknesses are, and then react accordingly. Seems to be what they're going for right now, Dust.
Absolutely. Just taking their time, trying to get some Ivy control. Also getting box hauls, just kind of leaving all their options open, making sure that no one's getting aggressive on the CT side. Meanwhile, FaZe, as expected, you know, trying to get forward on some of these angles at outer, trying to get the most utility out of some of these shorter range weapons. Twist being the solo scout here, just watching Ivy position, trusting in Kerrigan and Rain to have his backside. Again, we see this dance and ladder room, almost the exact same exchange with the exact same result, a bit of a stalemate when it comes to map control, but some intel gathered for both sides. As we do see Kerrigan is deep in enemy territory here in T-Con. Rain will join him. They're going to try to maybe pull out some type of bait and switch or crossfire type of situation where that Molotov's going to push Kerrigan back a little bit.
Kerrigan moving up with a CZ, spitting out bullets. But he will be punished accordingly. And it's all VP. He said it would be slow and steady. And it's been ever so efficient. Clean, crisp take of the site. And it will be a 3-round lead. And again, to go back to a point that we were making earlier, this was a force. It's not as if this was up against some kind of an eco where FaZe are going to be bouncing back in with some AWPs and a really solid purchase dust. I mean, this was kind of a Hail Mary, and it's gone horribly wrong for them. They didn't even take a player down with them.
That's very true. Very costly round, especially considering that they did roll the dice on it economically. Meanwhile, money's starting to build for VP, and this next round should be an even easier time. So they will really be able to get their economy in a good place if they can get a clean victory in the next, which should be an easier time to do, considering the situation that FaZe is currently in. Still hard to say if VP are in full control of the game just yet. We haven't really seen a whole lot of full buy opportunities yet from FaZe to put their best foot forward defensively. But VP are again, kind of like in the first half, getting really good control of the situation. And And they are popping off right now, fragging-wise.
Oh, it was absolutely a Kindar in the first half. He finished the first half with 21 kills, and now you're seeing the likes of Buster and Kicker really come to the forefront. And it's not like James had a bad game. He's just not really been required as much. So the team carrying the bulk of the work so far. Kindar Molly towards the back of the site, up against USPs, and only one UMP alongside it. Kindar straight forwards, faking out the bomb, drawing out Carrigan into the open. Kicker will finish off the rest. Rain at least takes down Kindar though. There'll be some questions asked from Kindar to his teammates because Rain literally just wide swung the train, and there was 3 players towards the back of E-Box that should have had him covered. coldzera putting the UMP to use. This is starting to get a little bit costly for the T's, all things considered, but keeping 3 players alive, well, that'll still be just fine.
Yeah, pretty easy victory there for VP, but that was kind of the expectation considering FaZe's economic problems, but now they're back to full buying coming into this round. This is where they need to focus up. You feel like a win here for VP would not quite seal the deal, but it would certainly put them in prime position to close fast, as it would maybe lead to yet another saving situation for FaZe, and they could jump up to 14 off of that. So this is pivotal for FaZe to stick around to get this one going. But again, that aggressive defense from FaZe is going to have to be the ticket, as they're, again, trying to put those incendiaries down, trying to take the space away from VP early. It's had mixed results so far, Vince, if we're honest.
Yeah, it definitely has. This is where you're looking for a Carrigan masterful switch around, or one of these players to really come alive. We saw it from Kindar a couple rounds towards the end of the first half. We've yet to really see anyone from FaZe have a huge moment other than coldzera at the very start of the half. Apart from that, it's been eerily quiet, really. Nice frag though from Buster, dropping down the double peak and takes down Rain and loses barely anything in return. Jane on the fast wrap shuts down Twists and opens up business on Ivy. And even if they don't choose to push through there, that's going to be in the back of FaZe's mind. They have to send one of these 3 players to watch out for it.
Yeah, it's a dream scenario for VP to get a pick at ladder and Ivy basically simultaneously. You get a 5-on-3 and you've taken so much presence all across the map. You've made it so hard on FaZe to know how they should allocate their remaining resources here. They are trusting a lot in Carrigan to kind of solo hold outer. They're doubling up on inner, and they're hoping that they're going to be in the right place at the right time, which they are, but can they frag out? That's the next question.
They need to. It has to be. It's do or die kind of situation here. This is a potential inroad back into the game, but Kicker is going to shut down coldzera after he gets the first brokey on the fast flank, but James has it. He's locked it down, providing overwatch and bodyguarding for the bomb plant. And in doing so, the IGL of FaZe, Carrigan, has to dip out of there and try and hold on to his M4.
Yeah, I want to say the bomb planner had spotted the player and committed to the plant knowing James had him covered. So James knew that a player would be peeking that angle and was perfectly prepared. So another round goes the way of VP. They'll jump up to 13. Again, FaZe's economy in ruin still. And so VP have a very good look at a 14th round where there won't be much resistance that FaZe can pose. And again, it also opens up the door for them to get that early space. You know, we've been seeing FaZe dedicate a lot of their attention to using utility to get up close on ladder and T-Con. It's not going to be as easy to do anymore with their money like this. It alleviates some of the pressure in the early round now from VP. It allows them to take some of that space a little bit more freely. It makes it a bit harder on FaZe to instill, you know, their comfortable game plan. Again, there's a couple of smokes and AG grenade coming into this. Carrigan gets the 1 M4 that's been saved. That's going to be it.
For me, this is a litmus test as well to see how VP would be coming into DreamHack Masters Spring. They've been on a bit of a rocky road of this last 4 or so games. Losses to Havu, Force, Complexity, and Liquid. It's good to see them bounce back in and look pretty damn good and sharp in the process. This round should be another gimme. They're just rushing straight out onto the site. Again, 4 players, though, on FaZe, congregating the back towards the site. They have Rain going in for the rotation over onto Ivy, but this leaves Carrigan out in the open. And it's just more of the same. It's falling into place. VP are looking impervious to FaZe. This has been an immaculate T-half so far, and it doesn't look like FaZe can even get their foot in the door.
Yeah, they've been playing from behind pretty much the whole way through. And it's just not getting any easier. Obviously, this round we knew they weren't going to be able to put their best foot forward. We knew it was going to be labored at best. But they have to come out swinging next round, or it's game over. VP have just been playing really good Counter-Strike. 4 of their players are absolutely teeing off, and it's the 4 you'd expect.
It's been a lot of negatives and sort of downturns in terms of FaZe. We'll see if Brokey can hold on to his M4. He does. Can't quite trade up to the AK, though, after time. But I do want to just say that Brokey, who had a very slow start, he was 0-1-6 at one point, is now actually right up there as one of the top fraggers for FaZe. So fair play to him turning things around. Obviously, it hasn't been the case for the rest of his teammates, though.
Fair point. Some of these players have really never hit the ground, to be honest with you. Double op and play for FaZe is kind of last chance saloon for them. They're trying to put everything out there, give themselves some chance to strike back. Again, they're trying to play these forward angles. Rain, though, has been often countered in ladder. Has not really had a chance to flex his muscles in this position.
Carrigan tosses out the smoke, looking to try and back away in the process. Does force the tease away at least. And VP mixing it up. They've been very aggressive so far, but this round just slowing it down. Allowing FaZe to maneuver themselves into only a few smokes and mollies left.
Exactly. Like, you've nailed it on the head. They burnt so much utility. They're not going to have much for the retake now if it comes down to it. So you are going to see VP looking to lay the hammer on this inner site. Smoke comes in. Easily bypass, though, with their own utility. They still have plenty to put into play. Plenty of Molotovs to cover the site and Z and just get in there and press. It's all going to come down to whether or not Brokey can strike with the op before the utility pushes him off any angles.
Yep, doesn't get a chance, and coldzera, in doing so, is left all alone, baited out. Teammates can't really follow up. Great utility, dividing FaZe down the middle. Carrigan at least tries to stitch things back together with his AUG, but he's been forced out. The bomb will be getting planted with about 20 seconds to go. And FaZe, they did have a rotation element in through Rain, but I think he's been recalled back to the rest of his teammates. They don't even want to try for that. They know they have to stick together.
Retaking with 2 ops, no utility vents. Only have one
kid.
This is
dicey. This is really dicey.
I think that's why Rain came over. They needed that kid.
Saying they need the first kill, then Yakindar just instantly takes the head off of Carrigan. Brokey at least returns fire, but that's all it is. It's consolation kills. It's stats padding. And it'll be VP taking a 15-8 lead, 7 match points.
Yeah, the problem is A, they didn't have utility, B, they had 2 ops, and C, they had to recall Rain because he had the only kit vents. They knew that if they let him flank alone and he died, their chances of having any hope at a defusal were gone. So they had to call him back, but that slows them down, right? And time was of the essence there, and they just could not find the frags they needed. VP continued to just play together, play at the proper pace. Again, they're finding good form on basically all of the players you'd expect to see it from. They might have 4 players at 20 frags or better by the time this is said and done, Vince. 2 already there and 2 very close. What a great performance from VP.
Oh, it's been excellent. Considered there was a couple of shaky moments at the start, and James just drops down. Rain has been utterly outplayed in Pop Dog, and it's not often you say that. This is typically his playground.
Yeah, it's actually unreal how much he's been bullied in that position. It's just given so much more freedom to VP, and it's really made it harder on FaZe to rotate properly and have good intel. Twist at least able to strike back with his AWP over towards Ivy, even the numbers, but again, it's defensive spread in this situation. Kicker and Cold trade kills. Inner now taken. 3-on-3 post plant gonna commence. Or never mind, Bob doesn't even make it in.
Yeah, no flashes or smokes to precede that either. Because he didn't have any. It's just a couple of mollies and a HE left. So that's the bomb that's dropped in an awkward position. They've had to go pick that one up, and in doing so, they're allowing the flank to come in. Brokey getting a bit too overzealous. Because there's 2 AWPs back towards the CT side, they felt like they couldn't really play aggressively. And there's still time left as well. They don't have to fully commit to this. However, they have lost the bomb again. Buster, 1-on-2, last seen on the B side.
I like this, by the way.
Still has to come up.
I like how Twist has fallen off and that Kerrigan's just going to cover his stairs with the Molotov. As soon as he spots something, he'll stop Buster from being able to claim the spawn, and he'll get the support he needs from Twist. Buster tries to make a nice little maneuver there. Didn't quite land the jump. Kerrigan will stamp him out. Good discipline there from FaZe. Good composure as well. They're so far behind, yet they're able to work that out perfectly to at least stay in the map for a bit longer. But how much longer, Vince, is the question. They have just really struggled to get going here. Meanwhile, VP seem on cruise control. That's just one bump in the road. But I don't see it halting them, to be honest. Not what I've seen so far. But that double op still being in play for FaZe, it gives them some chances, perhaps. We do have a bit of a pause going on here.
It feels more like a bug against the windshield. Probably not even going to notice that. You've still got 6 chances. And let's be honest, VP up until that point, they lost a pistol. That was a huge get for FaZe. They converted both. It was labored. And then since then, it was just all VP. So yes, you've got a round, and that's great. You know, there's every chance that they do come back and prove me wrong in terms of kind of writing them off at this stage. But I feel like I'm going to need to see 2 or 3 really rock-solid rounds before I begin to believe in this comeback.
Yo, that's a fair position to take, Vince. It has often left us wondering throughout this game if FaZe could really pose a threat to VP. Again, VP getting that 5-1 lead, staying ahead the entire time despite some of the comeback efforts from FaZe. And again, they just maintain control of the match all the way through, though FaZe have done just enough to linger around. But they haven't made a bold enough statement, as you were kind of alluding to give you any real faith that they could actually bring this one back. But that could change, right? You win a couple of convincing rounds, you get yourself within striking distance, and all of a sudden, faith begins to get restored. But it's going to take those efforts first, as there are 7 map points in play here for VP. That's a long road.
Was nice and fastly dealt with. Apparently, it was a player, I think it was Brokey, changed his resolution and his game crashed. That classic that's still in the game all these years later.
Why did he change resolution mid-match?
Yeah. That is an interesting point. Maybe, well, it was rain apparently. Okay. Either way, whoever it was, 6 more match points. VP are up against double AWP'd up FaZe, not for the first time, but already a lot of utility has been expended right off the bat. You only have 1 incendiary left, and on a map like Train, every single molly that you can get your hands on is so vitally important.
Yeah, again, it really stops you from being able to like slow down faster attacks. Now, VP haven't really played. All right.
What they're playing for, Dust.
Yeah. I was trying to come up with the tie-in, but you've done it for me, Vince. You're nailing it today. You know who's not nailing it?
FaZe?
Yes. I can always count on you.
Well, we've seen some comebacks today, Dust. We saw an absolute bloodbath on Mirage between 2 Titans, and maybe FaZe can manage to have a bit of a repeat performance in terms of how the games have gone so far. Still so early in the tournament as well. So many days action-packed Counter-Strike coming up. And VP looking to put an end to their first matchup here. 40 seconds to play with. All 10 players still alive, however.
Sure.
But it looks like they're about to explode out and B again.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? All the utility seems to be lining up that direction. Top flash to come through. Cold trying to hold the line, but has been traded out. Now on Brokey with AWP, trying to line up maybe a little bit of a collapse, trying to catch a foot of a bomb planter. Does get kickered on the way out at least. 3 on 4 now.
Nicely done, but they have 2 Molotovs, and there's no smokes in play for FaZe.
Ah, yeah.
The God Mollies are still in play, and there is no way to bring them down to earth. Now, Yakindar's throwing in a Molotov first. He was stuck back on the side. He's wasting so much time right now, and the other Molotov's been tossed down as well. But here come the CTs. They're spilling onto the side. There's no molly left. There's no molly left. FaZe have actually clutched that round, and Dust, everything considered, I thought that was a formality for VP to win the map.
Yeah, I'm surprised they spent both mollies early to not cover bomb. Yeah, you can't know for sure that FaZe don't have a smoke, but you have to consider it might be possible considering how low their economy is. And so I would have expected them to at least reserve 1 to try to clutch out the game with, but Yeah, it just didn't work. Maybe they felt that they couldn't get out the site, and they needed to be able to get outside to put the, mollies to use post-plant, but either way, FaZe do come back good again. Now they have full nade sets. They still have double op in play. They're still a couple of rounds off from endangering VP, though, you have to feel. But, they're starting to work on it. They're chipping away.
I'm not quite a believer yet, but I'm open-minded at this point, thus, because of the economic situation with VP.
No, I think that's a fair stance to take once again. Maybe if FaZe can get to like 12 or 13 rounds, all of a sudden you start to consider overtime being a possibility. You are going to see again ladder room being taken. This time Rain says, you know what? You can have it. I'm not even going to bother. Taking a more passive line through the middle of the outer yard instead. Again, putting a lot of faith on coldzera to be that inner anchor. It seems like VP won an outer split this time around, or at least that's what they're posturing up for. They may not commit to it. May just be looking to poke and prod the rotation. That's a strange move there from Sanji. Easy pickings for Twist.
These small mistakes will start to build up, though, into something significant if they don't put their foot down. coldzera shuts out VP. The B site is his house. He's not welcoming any guests anytime soon, but James may be able to gate crash the party. The bomb's in such a horrible spot, and although he doesn't die to the op shot, he does get tagged down, and coldzera finishes off what he started, and he secures a 4K.
Yeah, it felt like Sanji's backhaul push was just like hoping to catch Twist off guard with the added benefit of maybe holding people in place to kind of make that inner side a little bit softer to attack, but it just never applied enough pressure to keep FaZe in place. They're able to rotate very quickly to help reinforce Cold on that inner site. Cold not really needing the help, though, getting 4 kills on that round, I believe, putting him up to 22, topping his team for now. And now they're at 11, and if they win this round, Vince, Money will actually be in a kind of a tough spot. In fact, it's kind of this round, 3 pistols, 2 AKs. So FaZe an easier chance at a 12th, and at that point, Vince, you have to start considering overtime as a real potential outcome. It's starting to hit that breaking point.
Yeah, we said we need to see 2 or 3 solid rounds back to back. We've had them. We've had moments from coldzera. We've had some pretty swift plays from the likes of Brokey. I'm beginning to believe that the comeback is definitely now on the table. By no means a guarantee, but they've at least put themselves in the conversation.
I also start to get that vibe that like VP are kind of just lacking that adaptation. I don't know if you feel the same way, but it seems like we've seen the same pace pretty much every round. And we've seen them just like really struggle to get out together. Like some of their spacing has been kind of lackluster, I guess you could say. Like they just don't look nearly as tidy as I would have anticipated.
I think that's definitely a fair assessment. Yeah, they've had super slow rounds. They've just basically rushed outside of main, or if they've been on ecos down on B site. Yeah, there hasn't been too many B or C plans, as it were. And Karrigan's the kind of IGL, he's been around the block so many times. If he starts to make reads and tells, he is going to punish you for that. So at this point, maybe VP call a tactical timeout after this round, assuming they don't somehow win it, and try and get on the same page.
I feel like I'm watching Flipside Tactics 2016 right now.
Yeah, it is very slow. That's a big miss, though, from Brokey. That's actually a hugely costly miss, because that should be a plant coming down. coldzera doesn't want to get overzealous. He knows he's playing to win the round. Not just denied a bomb plant. He gets white swung from Kickert. And maybe FaZe, after all the hard work, the blood, the sweat, the tears, are going to just trip themselves over some hyper-aggressive plays that were unnecessary, and that will cost them dearly. Rain, though, coming down towards the site, has no idea as to where that second player is. I think now he's sussed out some possibilities on the oil and deals with him accordingly and swiftly before Kicker tries to spin in for 2. Rain will save the day, but that's 4 plays that go down.
Maybe changing his res worked out, Vince. He gets the op back as well on his way out the door. A 12th round for FaZe. It came more labored than we expected considering VP's buy, but nonetheless, they get it done. And now they're 3 away from forcing overtime. VP, again, you feel like they need to come up with something else. They need to throw something out there, a new curveball, a new just play from the strat book. Something's got to give. They just look so stale. And now it's going to be hard to play faster if they want to, because the utility's back for FaZe to shut that down.
feeling the confidence pushes straight through, and Yakinda, that man that was the reaper of all of FaZe's souls in the first half, has been doused down again. He's only added 6 kills come the second half flip. And they have felt that impact, VP.
No, that's a really good point to make, that he has cooled off quite a lot. And I feel like just in general, the team as a unit has, again, they just have not really gotten rolling on the T side here lately. I mean, they got some early rounds, yeah, sure, mostly due to just economics, but when the goings got tough, they struggled to shift gears. Again, that adjustment has not been there yet on the T side. Now they're trying to come to some type of outer explosion, but Twist has such a sick angle on T-Con right now and lands the first shot, no problem, and we'll be able to back off.
I thought he might get punished from the other 2 players towards main. Takes damage, but stays alive. Now he has been put down, courtesy of Jane. 2 players in main, and Kickert is hedging his bets towards the B site. coldzera has the off angle. Instantly puts the bullet in the head of a weakened Kickert. Well, at least James is keeping this round alive. Maybe they can get it done right here, right now. The last round came down to Rain. Well, he's no longer there to save them, but he may not be required, because Brokey, with his AWP, puts down 2 more players.
Again, it's just looking like VP are starting to run out of gas here. And meanwhile, FaZe are building momentum. They're feeling it now. Their players are starting to get lifted up. They're starting to put in those performances we expect out of the skill that they're capable of. And now they're 2 away from OT. At this point, I'd like to see VP. This is crazy. This is only the first technical time they use all game long. Or is that the remaining timeouts? Never mind. Okay, they've called a couple here. I mean, I think they should take advantage of the fact that they've been able to be so successful at ladder room control, Vince. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like they have often been able to either straight up kill Rain or force Rain to play the map differently, force him to play more passive towards site. I feel like they could really use that as kind of a launching pad to either run a fake or to actually straight up look to attack outer yard. They've also often been able to get up Ivy. Getting past that corner, though, into sight has been the problem, but with ladder room, they can maybe divert some attention. So I wonder if that's what they're discussing in a tactical timeout. You know, I feel like something does have to change, though. I feel like this game plan that they've been running is not it, Chief.
No, it's not. We've seen those adjustments made already from FaZe. Like, Rain is no longer playing Pop Dog. He's playing E-Box. He's playing to the backside of the site. And VP is going to try and deal with that accordingly. It affords them that second crossfire to be established on the site. Ikinda says, screw this noise. I've got a good spawn. I'm just running straight out of main. And I'm taking the head of Karrigan with me. One of the first times in a while we see VP assert dominance again, get into a good position. And there is a chance for them to now close this one out.
That's a big shot from Brokey, though, to slow things down. A second to follow it up, and Cold still has inner halls covered so they can keep this outer defense in place fairly stress-free, as we do see that VP do want to make that pivot. coldzera, knowing the timing, will back off to play a safer position at Spools, but he still has inner well covered. And now we even see Rain deep into T-Con. They have so much space that they're taking away from VP. They just have to make sure they don't overextend is the only real fear at this point, as we are going to see VP slip in. Kicker, huge deagle shot to get it back to even numbers, but now they've been found out. But again, maybe the defense might be stretched thin, as again we see VP pivot once more. They're trying to run interference and catch an opening. Can they find it?
James is going to be so pivotal here. If he can get a goal on the twist, that could be the golden ticket, but he turns at the worst possible moment. Kickert's threaded another one, Deeg, this time onto Rain. The first frag was on a weakened Brokey. And it's a post plant. Twist. The kind of positions you expect him to excel in, but instead he loses his head to Sanji. And that puts it down into coldzera. Kicked off the map with a clutch. Will it go full circle? Kicker, one bullet away from death, and a headshot onto Sanji will be good enough. But he has no kit. There are kits littered around the site, but he has to go pick one up. That's valuable time in the process that will be lost. First kill goes his way. No idea as to where the last T is. And Sanji is the ace up the sleeve. coldzera still needs to get the kit. There's probably not enough time. This is looking like it's going to be all she wrote for Train. And coldzera sticks on the site, and Sanji wide swings him. VP, they made it a labored attempt, but they finally